let's do this. It's been a month. Hello everybody, nice to see you again, to see you nice. Welcome back. It's been a hot minute. I say this every time. I always think I'm going to get better at doing this. Never going to get better at this, so yeah, it's been a while. The plan is, what I'm going to do is, now that I suddenly feel motivated, I'm going to sit and film a few videos, so I will be wearing exactly the same stuff.
Je m'appelle Big Fat Liar.
Yeah, it's been a hot minute since I've sat down and filmed a video. I've done a lot of work, as in like physical going to work, so I've not had free time to do this, but now I do, so yoo-hoo. So yeah, this video is going to be my October and November wrap up all in one, obviously because I missed October because of the move, uni work and just work in general, so get a bit of a double whammy. And to be honest, it doesn't make that much of a difference because I have read 0 books in November. I've read a couple of plays, but actual like books for enjoyment, zilch, nothing. Without further ado, I'm just going to dive right in and talk to you about the books and plays that I read. The majority of them are going to be my uni plays. Some of them I'm not going to discuss into great detail because I'm not going to lie, I read them a while ago, and some of them I just didn't enjoy and I don't want to talk about again because I had like 2-hour lessons on them, so I'd rather not revisit. But yeah, so I'm just going to talk to you about the plays I read. You know when you get that weird splotch in your eye?
Yeah, it's because of the like...
Yeah, it's happening. I can't see. The first play that I read was My White Best Friend by Rachel De-Lahay, and this play is a verbatim style piece, so like basically she asked loads of friends to write a letter which kind of either discussed race, white privilege and just like various intersections. Is it called intersections or intersectionalities? Intersectionality. The sections of intersectionality. One of the main things that came out from it was kind of like a level of discomfort, but in a good way. So it would kind of like make you question like your choices, how you react when you are in a situation that becomes racially charged and things like that. And it's a really good play to get you thinking. The next play that we read was The 7 Methods of Killing Kylie Jenner by Jasmine Lee Jones, which discusses the correlation between being a young black woman sharing frustrations and anger towards racism, specifically online. And within the play there was like Twitter threads. Never seen that before in my life. Very interesting. It was kind of hard to grasp at first because obviously it's not your normal conventions of a written play, but I thought it was really cool, and obviously the message that was within the play was extremely important also. The next play is Cyprus Avenue by David Ireland, and this was all about the IRA and everything that was going off in Ireland. And basically this man is going to therapy because, spoiler alert, Fat murders his family.
Because he thinks that his fucking granddaughter is Jerry Adams.
Yeah. He murders his daughter and his wife, and then there's very grotesque images of him killing this baby in a bin bag because he thinks that is Jerry Adams, and we kind of like see the build up to this unfold. It's a very interesting play. It's quite, not harrowing, but disturbing.
But like hilarious at the same time.
But very funny. Like it's done in a very good way, but that makes you catch yourself even more about it, if that makes sense.
Could never.
The next play was called My Country, A Work in Progress. A Work in Progress by My Country, A Work in Progress by Carol Ann Duffy. And this was a play all about Brexit. Yeah, that's it. That's all I'm gonna say. It wasn't anything insane. It was just a bit, I don't know. I didn't connect with the play at all, so I don't really want to talk about it again. So yeah, the next play was, I really enjoyed the play. This next play was, I didn't write who it was by, and I'm embarrassed. Rita, Sue and Bob 2 by Andrea Dunbar. I really freaking loved this play. I thought it was very well written. It's basically all about this man called Bob and these 2 young girls called Rita and Sue. I think they're 15, 16, and Bob's 27. And basically, the 2 girls babysit his daughter, and one day he offers to drop them off home, but he takes a scenic route, and then sexual acts start to take place in the car, and then this becomes a regular occurrence until one day everybody finds out, and one of the girls gets pregnant with Bob's. One of the girls gets pregnant with Bob's child, and then like all the drama kind of ensues. It's very well written considering the nature of the topic. It's very insightful. It's very funny. It's very raw. I think it was really, really good. I would reread it, and I would really like to go see it. So the next one was Constellations by Nick Payne. This was just a really good week for the plays that we decided to discuss in class. Basically, it's all about the idea that like scenarios can be replicated in terms of like, so I'm sat filming this video, there's going to be another version of me sat filming a video but potentially talking about something different, and then there could be another version of me that's dying. It's all about like the fact that there could be multiple versions of us out in the world. Something to do with not quantum physics, but something to do with a specific type of physics. And so the way that the play is written, it's fragmented, and we see scenes repeated but with a different outcome because of her theory on what's going on in the universe. So we see all the different outcomes of their relationship, but in the end it all ends in the same way. And there's this speech that she gives at the end, just talking about like, I'm so grateful for the allocated time that I've had with you in this life. I know that somewhere out there we're going to be together for longer. And it was just very good, very emotional. And I thought it was really clever the way that it was written, because it tied in with obviously this woman's job. It was just very clever. I really enjoyed it. And it was lighthearted even though it was sad, if that makes sense. It definitely does. So the next play that I read was Terrance Rattigan's The Deep Blue Sea. This is considered a classic. Do I remember much about it? No. All I can remember about this play is that it opens up with a woman who is trying to commit suicide by gassing herself, and this gets interrupted in quite a comical fashion, I believe. And then it's all about this forbidden love that she has for this man, and yeah. But the reason why this play is interesting is because it's semi-autobiographical, and Terrance Rattigan was actually gay, and there's a lot of queer coding within the play, and also his partner, I believe, successfully committed suicide in that way. So it's kind of looking at that, and yeah, him telling his story through a straight play, talking about his experience as a gay man. The next play was Look Back in Anger by John Osborne. Can I remember much about this play? No, not really. All I just remember is discussing in class the fact that it was an angry white man talking about his issues.
Original. Authentic.
Ah, yes. Something I've never done. Something I've never read before. So, did I care for it? Not really. The next play, this is Beth's favourite, not mine. The next play that we read was Waiting for Godot by Samuel Beckett. So this is when we started looking at absurdism and stuff, and I respect it. I appreciate it. Do I enjoy it? That's debatable. Did I enjoy Waiting for Godot? Not really. I was reading the same thing twice. Let me explain.
Poor taste.
There's two characters called Vladimir and Estragon, and they are waiting for this thing called Godot, and they encounter two other people, which is Pozzo and Lucky. Lucky is on like a string and is described as a slave to Pozzo, and Pozzo is just a nasty pasty, and it's reading the same thing and it's boring. I enjoyed researching into like why it was written, like looking into the psychology and the cosmology, geography, philosophy.
It is philosophically magnificent.
But as a play, it's boring.
It's not particularly entertaining.
No, yeah. It's interesting as a essay.
Yeah, if you look at it from more of an academic point of view than like an audience point of view. I feel like if you just going to watch it to be like, oh, what should we go watch tonight? Waiting for Godot is not the sort of thing.
Like when I went to see Endgame.
It gives you like an existential crisis for a while.
Yeah. and I don't need them. I don't need them.
I've got my own fiction.
I want to live in a young adult fiction fantasy world. The next play we read was a play called The Birthday Party by Pinter. Again, kind of in the same line, but not really. It's absurdism, and it's all about this guy called Stanley who has a birthday, and like two men, Goldberg and McCann. Goldberg and McCann, like kind of, they look like they could be like from the Secret Services or something. And they come round and they interrogate him, and in the end they take him away because somehow they've made him have a mental breakdown. And reading the play, it's very dry, it's very crusty. But I saw it, I think 2018, and I thought it was really funny, even though I didn't really understand what was going on. Again, do I understand the point of it? Even after having a class on it, I'm gonna say no. Does that make me an idiot? No, it just means that I just don't understand some things, and that's fine. Just because I don't understand the avant-garde does not mean that I can't appreciate it. The next play, would you believe, was called A Taste of Honey by Shelagh Delaney. Now, this play looks at a non-conventional mother-daughter relationship, which is where they just don't have that mother-daughter connection, and the play just makes it seem fine. Like, that's how it is. It's just how it be sometimes, and I appreciated that. And then the play touches on interracial couples. Yeah, so she ends up having a mixed-race baby, and the mother...
There's a gay guy too.
And there's a gay guy. Wow. And then the mother doesn't really approve of this child. And then the daughter ends up living with a gay guy who's really supportive and says, I will marry you if you want. And she's like, no, because you're gay. And I respect that, which is really, really cool, considering this was written in like the 70s or something, wasn't it? I think it was written in the 70s. So yeah. Then we have Saved by Edward Bond. Now this was a play that I thoroughly enjoyed. There's a lot of... It's quite dense in terms of what happens. There's a lot of like mini stories and layers going on. But the main one is about this girl called Leah who ends up falling in love with this boy, and then she has his kid, and then he doesn't want anything to do with the kid, so she starts neglecting the child. And then, trigger warning, again, kind of like Cyprus Avenue, the baby gets killed in a really gruesome way. So the baby's stoned to death by this boy and a group of friends. The main storyline kind of circulates around that. And then, like, you've got various, like, smaller stories happening at the same time, like to do with Leah's parents. I really enjoyed it. Then the next play that we had to read/watch was What the Butler Saw by Joe Morton, and this is a extremely farcical play that deals with really big issues. It's kind of like one of those like tongue-in-cheek plays, but it deals with really serious issues and like thought processes behind stuff. So it looks at toxic masculinity, it looks at sexism in the workplace, it looks at things such as rape, false allegations, like just loads of fabricated lies, and it was very funny. It did get tiresome towards the end because it was the same over and over again. But other than that, I enjoyed it and it was interesting to discuss in class. So the next play that we had a look at was Plenty by David Hare, which follows a woman called Susan, who is an English woman trying to help in the French resistance during the war, and then it kind of like looks at her life after that experience. We see that she kind of like has like some form of like, not PTSD, but she has a deep desire to be kind of in that scenario again, and it just looks at her life following that. Then we read Blasted by Sarah Kane. What can I say about this play that would make anyone want to read it?
Did you see it?
I've seen it, yeah, and read it, and I thought it was really good, but like talking about the content is gonna deter people. Basically, what happens is there is a man in his 40s and a young woman who's in her 20s. They used to have a relationship, now they don't, but he invited her to a hotel and he peer pressures her and non-consensually makes her do sexual acts. And then this whole war breaks out, and It's really difficult to describe. Basically, a lot of grotesque, gruesome things happen. So, spoiler/trigger, basically there's cannibalism involved, there's anal rape, you have just the whole idea of rape in general, and it's supposed to be a correlation between, I guess, like the anarchy and craziness of war and things like that. Like, I don't know how to I don't know how else to put it. It's very difficult to describe. It's extremely graphic. It's not one for the faint-hearted. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you.
You're welcome.
But I would highly recommend to anybody who is interested in, I guess, like shocking theatre, to have a look at it. It is very good for what it is. I'm not saying what happens in it is good, but I think the way that it is dealt with and what the meaning is behind it is very, very good. 2 more plays, and then I'll talk to you about books, which is probably what people actually care about, because no one cares about what I read at uni. The next play is called The Pitchfork Disney by Philip Ridley. This is all about these 2 twins who are kind of left to their own devices. They haven't matured very well. They are still kind of trapped in a child mindset. And basically what happens is one of the twins has a nightmare about like being murdered by a serial killer called Pitchfork Disney. And then there's 2 people that show up on their door, like Pitchfork and Disney. Like there's 2, I can't remember specifically, but basically his nightmare kind of becomes real, but no one gets murdered. And then they leave, and then they continue being kids. What a really bad way of describing something. I'm not good at this. And then the last play was Shopping and Fucking by Mark Ravenhill. This was all about drugs, all about being able to survive without, like, I guess, a mature figure. It looks at love, relationships, drugs, substance abuse, which is drugs. I really enjoyed this play. I thought it was very, very good. There's not much else I can say. I'm just not very good at this. I've lost the mojo, not the mojo. Ooh. I have lost the ability to be able to sit down and coherently describe the premise of a book or a play. Does that make me sad? Maybe. I want to talk about it. Okay, so now that I've spoken to you about the plays that I've read, I'm going to talk to you about the books that I've read. I'm not going to lie to you, I haven't read that many, but a lot of stuff's been going on, so I feel like that's reasonable enough of an excuse. So the first book that I read was Convenience Store Woman by Sayaka Murata, and this book follows a woman called Keiko. Keiko. I'm gonna call her Keiko. So we follow this woman called Keiko who has been working in the same convenience store for, I think the book says 18 years. And we basically just look at her life working in this convenience store, her trying to figure out what other people want from her and how, like, society tells her how she should be living, and the fact that she's not doing that. Then she decides to pretend and try and fill in the blanks which other people think is missing in her life. She finds that it doesn't give her satisfaction, and she was much more happier to be working in this convenience store. And I thought it was a lovely book. I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars purely because it wasn't a book that I was desperate to pick up once I put it down. I did find it enjoyable. I don't think I would actively go out of my way to recommend it, but if somebody was going to say to me like, oh, I'm thinking of reading Convenience Store Woman, I would say read it because it's an enjoyable book to read. It's an interesting narrative as well, especially with it's set in Tokyo. So obviously, like, culturally and society-wise, that's what I'll go with. And society-wise, it's very different to what I'm obviously used to, being an English white woman. So it was very interesting in terms of getting, like, different perspectives and different scenarios and things like that. So yeah, I thought it was an enjoyable read. I probably wouldn't reread it, but it made me want to buy another book that she has written, which is out of my reach, but it's just there. It's Earthlings, and I'm very intrigued because I really did like the writing style. So maybe with this being like a different story, I might enjoy it a little bit more, but we'll see. The next book was Women Don't Know You Pretty by Florence Given. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. I bloody love that book. I laughed, cried, wow, feel empowered, oofdy, mwah, 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 delicious. I already sent it off to one of my friends, Alex, so that they can read my annotated copy because I've done loads of squiggles and shit inside it. And for Christmas, he's gotten me a gold sprayed edged book of it and signed by Florence Given. Am I going to pass out? You bet your bottom dollar I am. I would highly recommend anybody to read it. Not only does it look at ableism, ageism, sexism, racism, it talks about life in general, how to feel empowered, like on your own, not needing anybody. But like the whole thing, I think that people just think it's always about like relationships and being independent. It's more than like learning how to be single and love yourself. Like, it's more than that. It's deeper. It's just so good, and it's a book that I'm going to refer back to forever, and I would highly recommend everybody to read it. So the next book that I read was The Year of the Witching by Alexis Henderson, and wow, mwah, 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 mwah. Ooh, mwah, 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 mwah. It's a cheer. Give me the cuss. This book was bloody phenomenal. Can I tell you the synopsis? No, I can't, because I read it over a month ago and I have a memory like a sieve. But I can give you rough vibes. So basically, we follow this girl called Emmanuelle, who is living in a town called Bethel, and they have like this really weird, like orthodox, religious, cultish type of vibe going on, and it's very intense. And we figure out that Emmanuelle is kind of like an outcast because her mother ran away into the dark wood and kind of consorted? Sure. Yeah, consorted with witches, and then there's like Lilith is one of them. And basically we follow Emmanuelle discovering stuff about their town and herself, like her heritage, or with the help of this kid called Ezra, who is like the prophet's son, and like he's like supposed to be like all like religious and like, yeah, I can have 10 wives, but he's like, no, I hate it, I'm gonna rebel and help you. And like, oh, like it's so hard to describe, but it was so good. It was so good, and I highly recommend it to everybody. There is a little bit of love. It's a little bit of a nice little spicy romance. But what I really appreciate about this book is that wasn't the main drive. It was more about Emmanuelle. Like, she didn't need Ezra. She was very independent, and I think that's why a lot of people see this as like a feminist book. Yeah, I would highly recommend it. I'm definitely going to reread it. I think it took me like half a day to read. Really easy. Oh, and the writing, magnificent. The description, wow, blows my mind. I can see it in front of me. It's amazing. So, in case you haven't gathered, I highly recommend this book. Consider that portion of this video wrapped up. So now I'm going to talk to you roughly about my reading plans for December. And I'm obviously going to do my little self-care card thing. And yeah, then that'll be the end of this video. So buckle up, we're nearly done. And I'm going to talk to you about the books that I'm planning on reading. Let's talk about the big elephant in the room. Let's talk about the fact that I should have finished The Fellowship of the Ring and should have finished The Two Towers now. So I have read up to page 132 of The Fellowship of the Ring. I was having a very good time annotating, and then I moved down to London. Kent. London. And I did the move, you know, did the adventure, and then I just kept on looking at it like, now's not the time. Now is not the time for you. I mean, No, I'm not even going to try and pretend. I just can't do it. I'm not DNFing it, just not for right now. It's not the mood that we're in. So I'm going to save these for when I can properly enjoy them. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's talk about the book that I did pick up. Am I embarrassed by this?
Potentially.
Potentially. If you can't guess what that iconic scene was, it was from New Moon. We had a Twilight marathon. Beth went and got the books. We've made t-shirts. Look,
all of our Christmas presents are Twilight based. We have gone back to 2007 and I'm here for it.
I've literally only just started reading it. I'm on page 120. What can I say?
Problematic.
What can I say? It's problematic. Yeah, so New Moon was getting me out of my reading funk. I think it sounds so dumb, but like, because it's such a tween thing, it's very nostalgic for me. Easy breezy, lemon squeezy. Once I have finished, I'm probably going to carry on with the series, I'm not going to lie to you. So I'm just going to say that all of the Twilight series is in my kind of like TBR for December. I do want to get to Midnight Sun by the end of December. Maybe January, we'll see. I feel myself kind of like building up momentum again, which is really good. So, having said that, I have given myself some small little like targets, some goals I want to do. So about 2 months ago now, I went on a socially distanced picnic with my friend Tash, who I went to college with, and this is the cutest thing. So we've not seen each other in about like 3 or 4 years, and then she came, she knew that I obviously did this channel, and she gave me a book that she thought that I would enjoy. So I'm planning to read this because I think this is high up on my priority list for the sentiment of it. And this is called Crush. This is a collection of writers who discuss their first crushes on celebrities, and I'm very intrigued. So I'm really excited about it. It's quite small. Sounds really weird, but the paper feels really good, so I can feel that it's going to be like a physically enjoyable read. This is #relatable. Who's your celebrity crush?
You. She's TikTok famous.
Sorry. The biggest goal is to try and finish the fucking Twilight series in December, and then the other one is to try and read Crush. I'm hopefully going to finish this by the beginning of December because I think this is a nice easy read. I'm going to take it with me to work and stuff. So that's that. I'm also going to ask Beth to pick a book for me to spice it up, because I can't remember if I said I'm no longer going to do my TBR jar, just because now that I'm working 5 days a week and uni's back in full swing, I don't have the time to be able to hit the goals that I keep on picking for myself. So I think if I just give myself 3 instead of like bloody 15, it'll be a lot more manageable. Without further ado, Beth, pick a book. No, I know what it is!
Everything comes back to Twilight, Beth, you know this.
I know what this is, I'm so cross. I can tell because, okay, I got this copy from one of my friends.
You said you wanted to get into the classics.
Not this one, not right now.
Exactly.
So I can tell exactly what it was because of the back. Because my friend gave it to me, Jacqueline, and this was her used copy, and I really liked it for the aesthetic. Did I ever intend on reading it? Yeah, at some point.
And here is the point.
So the book Beth has picked for me is Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. How has this got anything to do with Twilight?
You've not read it yet. It's in the book a lot. Wuthering Heights is in the book a lot.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay. I am going to be reading Wuthering Heights by Emily Bronte. Can I tell you what it's about? No, because the back is ripped off. But also, I feel like everyone knows Wuthering Heights. All I know of Wuthering Heights is the song by Kate Bush and Noel Fielding's lip sync of Kate Bush. Let's be your cousin, come on! that's the plan. Before we go, not that I've done many of these, but it is now becoming a tradition where I pick one of my self-care ideas out of these pack of cards. Woo! And I set it as like a challenge for myself for the month. So that's the whole idea behind the cards. So yeah, I'm just gonna pick one. Go on.
Google cute animals or watch funny cat, dog, goat videos on YouTube. Live her life as she usually does.
That is so cute. So instead of watching my videos, go Google a dog in a little watermelon hat.
Aww.
If you've made it this far, thank you for sticking around. I really appreciate it. Feel free to subscribe if you fancy. That'd be neat. If anything, I'm consistently inconsistent. And thank you for bearing with me. I'm not good at this, so haha. But I enjoy it, so thank you for watching. That's it from me. Haha. Sick. Bye bye.